Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Starfield gameplay again. We're going to talk about trading in particular. Now, I don't know if you've ever played any of the old space games, like X, by Egosoft, but they used to have a fairly decent trading game, fairly robust. Um, Elite did as well to a degree. They all kind of failed in some ways because getting the trading game right was always a bit difficult. It was never a straightforward thing. EgoSoft, for example, would always try and manipulate the market via scripts in the back end. So, the prices changed not in a natural way, but in an artificial way. And it usually ended up with a worse system than if it just left it alone. So you had a situation where dumping lots of goods into a factory would create a drought. So they'd want to do a supply and demand system, and the supply and demand would usually cause anything in the outlying sectors to go bust. So you'd lose loads of factories. There wouldn't be anything there to trade with, and then there'd be a drought of goods. And suddenly, because it wasn't really a matter of what they were trying to do was wrong. It was just a question of the time scale where it happened in was so short for the drought of goods and so long for the factories to come back that it ended up with an empty universe. But I always thought, just capping the amount of goods that people could have in a station was the way to go. So, for instance, if you were to sell goods to a station, you could sell 3,000 if you wanted to, but you'd end up, only say 200 being available to buy. So it was like a sink for goods that were produced. It absorbed the goods that were produced by the in the universe, and you got paid for it. But you couldn't buy too many back and make a profit. You only had a limited amount you could buy without going to another factory. I always thought that would have been a better way, just letting the factories at least sell their goods. So, but anyways, also, I mean, the AI is trying to get around the map was a problem in X as well because they try and find a place they could sell it. And by the time they got to the destination, they might not be able to sell it there, so they'd be end up going somewhere else, and that created massive problems as well because the AI routing was just running all over the universe trying to find a place to sell its goods and couldn't do it. So that's kind of what Starfield might be facing, but I don't think it's going to be a trading game in the sense that the AI goes around trading. I think the markets are going to be very artificial, and in the artificial sense, that it's not going to have the same level of manipulation. It'll probably be like either Skyrim and things like that. Every 3 days, the goods are reset, so you come back 3 days later, and you could sell to that place again. That's what I'm thinking. Well, maybe not 3 days, maybe a day, but you get the idea. So it won't be as deep and meaningful, but it'd be a bit like raiding a dungeon, going to where Whiterun and selling your goods there, finding you've got too much and you can't buy it all, going somewhere else and selling the same goods somewhere else. That's what I'm thinking that trading game's going to be like. Now, if you actually look at, say, the ships and stuff, you can build the ships up. You might want a fighter, for instance, for some combat missions, but you wouldn't want to use a freighter for it. So if you build your ship up to be a freighter, you will probably not be doing much combat. If you build it up to be a fighter, then you probably won't be doing much trading. So this is what I'm expecting from Starfield because it seems the logical way to go. But if you do build your ship up to do to do trading, you should be able to make quite a bit of money, providing you could sell the goods, which comes back to the original point. Will you be able to sell the goods you carry on your ship, or will you be forever moving from planet to planet to planet, trying to sell what you've got and hoping you could do it at a profit? I think it'd be a mistake to introduce, profit-based systems, where you get like supply and demand on one planet, things are worth more than another, because that's normally when things start to fall flat. Although it makes the trading game more interesting, it does start to fall flat because I've yet to see a company get that right. I mean, Egosoft are the one that tried the hardest, and even they haven't got it right yet. So, but there again, they've got a game engine that's a system for modding, shall I say, that is very user unfriendly. So, and their interface is very user unfriendly. So, I would say they're not the most skilled at getting it right. Bethesda are quite skilled at getting the interface quite right. So maybe they'll pull it off. Maybe. But anyhow, the ship sizes. If you build a freighter, customize your ships into a freighter so you can carry more goods and make more sales, you'd probably want to have more of a long range engine on it as well. So you'd need to upgrade your ship so the engine was powerful enough to take you further. And at that point, you probably end up, say, somewhere around one of the outer lying planets, mining metal and things like that. Then maybe going back to your base and turning it into some goods at a higher value than the raw metal itself, and then selling it at a massive profit. So there'd be a cycle between, mining, producing, selling, mining, producing, selling. That way, you could gather what goods you wanted. And if there's someone's, I dare say some modders will do it, because I'm expecting it to be like crafting. If you've got X amount of metal, X amount of wood, you can make X amount of items, that kind of thing. And I'm expecting it to be like that. So in theory, a mod could add a hell of a lot more items to produce in your own base. Because if we could do it, I've done it myself. I did it in Fallout 3. I've done it in a few other games before that. I did it in Oblivion, so you've got item X and item Y. You click on the crafting device, it produces another item. Simple. It's very, very simple mod to make. And I dare say that will become a massive thing. There'll be trading mods out there. I'm almost certain of it. Just looking at the old game and the way it works and everything else, there will definitely be trading mods. And if you can hear what sounds like tank tracks, it's the tanks outside my window. There's currently a war going on. Oh no, sorry, it's a building site. But you get the idea. Anyway, I do think that the crafting system we see today in other games will be what we use for making stuff in Starfield. Although I'm expecting more animations, so there's more flash to it, a little bit more interesting. I don't expect it to be as basic as bang, bang, bang on an anvil. Put it that way. You might even have it automated, in the sense that automating things. We got that in Fallout 4. It wasn't the most interesting part of the game, but it was part of the game. So yeah, might even be able to automate bots to harvest metal for you as well eventually, or in a mod maybe. That's what I'm expecting. Once you get out into the outer reaches where all the resources are, it might be entirely possible for you to set up a base somewhere out there, so you're closer to the raw materials, and then just ferry it in. So it'd be probably fast travelling between star systems, I gather, but ferry it in to the inner system, sell it, then go back and rinse and repeat. Trouble is, my understanding is getting to the outer systems is. It's a long-term game option, not a short-term one, because you have to upgrade your ship to get further afield. That requires money, that requires experience and stuff like that. So it probably won't be cheap to do that, but it'd be a late game option for people who want to just start branching out. I'm guessing the beginning of the game would keep you fairly close to the inner system, so you wouldn't really get to know the great grand trading game. You'd be more or less restricted in what you could do. At least that's what I'm thinking anyway. But I do think it'll be a good game, because you think about it, between the pirates and the trading and other options, there's quite a lot to do in it already that we know. And if we think about Skyrim in space, with the options for manufacturing in Skyrim already, like making armour for instance, and the resource collections and stuff like that, then suddenly you've got your base, you've got like a Fallout 3 style setup, where you can produce goods. It's quite a lot going on. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, but you think about it, right? The trading game itself is a game. What's the word for it? It's a game in itself. In most space games, fighting, fighters is a game in itself. Piracy, that's a lifestyle. They all go together. But remember that triangle: raw materials, producing goods, selling goods, back to raw materials. I would expect this triangle to be a core part of the Starfield gameplay. See you in the next one.